This is Calicat, the Calicaster, and this is a review of Episode 8 of Star Trek Picard Season 3, Surrender. This is the episode where they essentially do the ending of the Great Tribble Hunt. So there's basically, if you've seen that episode of Starship Chimera, or Starship Locations, Strange Worlds, you get what's going to happen. So Vadic has taken over the bridge in the same way the Tribble Queen did in that story. Taken over the bridge and is going to execute the crewmen, and they have to figure out how to stop her. Essentially, they use cloak and dagger stuff, and they use other methods. Jack apparently has some connection with Iconians and bluegills, it would appear, both together, just because why not? Maybe the aliens of the other dimension. Maybe maybe it's a little bit of them too. I still think it's bluegills. I think it's brain bugs, and they're just still around, and they're using their version of the Great Link. He's some sort of a sleeper agent for that. He may also be an augment. It's kind of silly that given he's supposed to be a character that has mental illness because of Picard, his father, that he has superpowers because he has mental illness. It just doesn't make sense that he would have that superpower. Somebody gave them to him, in other words. He couldn't just have mental illness and be... doesn't make sense. So we have... I'm trying to figure that out. I'm trying to figure out how to get Jack to the bridge without killing more people. They use Picard's code through some kind of a mind meld Jack is able to do with crewmen, which kind of explains that scene where he hallucinated that he killed everybody. Kind of explains that, but kind of doesn't. And apparently his mind is fine. She's scanning him. Dr. Rhodes scanning him. I wouldn't think aromatic syndrome would make you psychic. That doesn't make any sense. So he's got to be some sort of augment. Like partly bluegill. One of the doctors admitted that she did it with a bluegill. Anyway, so we have that going on, and we have Riker and Troy, and the changeling came to Riker and Troy, or Troy disguised as Riker. We could joke about it making love to her, and she didn't like the pizza afterward. There was that I'm assuming he was joking. I'm assuming that Kestra wasn't there, but she's somewhere else. Well, according to Starship Locations, Season 3 at least, the upcoming season, she's at Starfleet Academy at this point. So, or will be in the story. So anyway, but I'm not in this particular episode. That's not canon with Picard. That's beta canon. And so we have. It's very clear that the Starship Realms is not canon with Star Trek, even though it's fictional. So we have a continuation of that. We have Worf rescuing Worf and Raffi rescuing from the ship. Worf reciting poetry to Troy, I guess to see if she's real. I think that was what his intent was. And also to piss Riker off a little bit. Also, we have Geordi and them trying to figure out how to get to Data's... Data and Lore are two disparate things in there. I take it that the new Data robot can't actually disconnect yet from the wall. So the Data and the Lore fight each other through the realm of their matrix in their brain, which is kind of cool. And Data tricks Lore by giving him all his stuff, leading up to the pipe and the hat and all the way up to the cat, discovering that he found love by having a cat. Lore being obsessed with collecting his things somehow. I don't recall him doing that in the show, but okay. He almost takes over, but no, it's a fake out. Data takes over because Lore's weakened himself by giving him all of his stuff and cluttering his mind basically with stuff, which was funny. That's something different. That was clever. similar to Elton Sung in Strange Worlds in the episode with the aliens, the bluegills. Oh yeah, and the fallen ones. There was a scene like that in there. They clutter a guy's mind. So what of that? I think they keep mentioning a red doorway, and that's kind of Iconians, I think. But I think it's really supposed to be bluegills. Not sure why darkness surrounds him or whatever. What's going on with that? I'm not sure what's the end is. Being episode 8, I'm going to basically retake the bridge. All that's going on, and we have Jack arrives on the bridge with a device they can't identify, and Vedic is. Vedic, they have some squaring off. Amanda Plummer deserves an Emmy for this performance as this bad guy. She nails like evil Star Trek villain, evil Cillian, and evil Changeling. So all those things, absolutely should get an Emmy. And then they there's one of the most messed up Star Trek villains in recent memory. So that's cool. Yeah, she's genuinely messed up, and. Yeah, and of course she has to perish because it's silly Trek. So that's what's little her. So basically they turn the Star Trek. Okay. So they turn the Star Trek Nemesis thing on its head by deliberately blowing out the pod bays of the bridge. So that everybody's trapped in the room because they tricked their bad guys into porting them into the captain's quarters, which I guess is airtight. I didn't know that. And then they open the... Jack Crusher's device actually protects him. It's also the Superman 2 ending. And Superman 2 tricked Lex Luthor into going into the pod thing that like takes out his powers. And he was on the outside and him on the inside, so Lex Luthor loses his powers. And Superman doesn't. He comes out and he beats him. So it's the Lex Luthor thing. But it's also Nemesis in reverse. It's the Yushin getting blown out. And instead of them just being okay, it sucks all the bad guys out into space. And they go flying toward the Shrike. And Vidic splatters all over the control dish of the ship because everywhere. After freezing. So I was thinking earlier in the story, why wouldn't like the frozen part of space or liquid nitrogen guns would probably kill the changelings and freeze them to death. You could because they're liquid. Yeah, then you could just break them and they would fall apart. But yeah, so Data takes command of the ship. There's this pissed off security system. Does his thing, saves the day. Deanna then they all meet and they have a staff meeting similar to G&G, and they've defeated the changelings, and but now they have to go to Frontier Day, which is hours away at this point. I don't know how they're going to do that in just hours from wherever they are. They need to be within the Sol system at this point, but they're not. Yeah, they're just ignoring space and time here and doing the Star Wars thing. Hyperspace, just go from here to there and instantly in hyperspace, right? Yeah. Make a better Star Wars story than a Star Trek story. But yeah, and they've discovered Jack has a darkness inside him. Here, open the door. Dr. Crusher, Deanna Troi trying to open the door. It's like, yeah, is he still going to kill the crew? but yeah, bluegills and Iconians. So in the Great Tribble Hunt, the starship location of the Great Tribble Hunt, the first half of that, they're on the Tribble homeworld, and it's basically Koloth and Cyrano Jones have been brought to the Next Generation period, and they're challenging the crew and stuff like that. The crew of the Chimera, the crew of the Emmett Till as well, with Captain Nog there, and they're challenging the crew. And Uhura, she's a guest star in the episode. She's really old. She's still alive at that point. So they're on the planet, and so they go to the Tribble planet, and the Tribble Queen tricks them in part 2 and takes some of her forces to the ship to seize control of the Chimera. so that she could fly the Chimera to Federation space and destroy the Federation. Sounds similar, doesn't it? It's really similar. That was written 2 years ago, so there you go. They've been watching my stuff. But yeah, and they should also take note that The Great Tribble Hunt is based on a David Gerrold spec script, 50-page spec script called Escape from the Planet of the Tribbles by David Gerrold, who wrote The Trouble of Tribbles and Trials and Tribulations. So, an actual Star Trek writer wrote one of our episodes. Well, kind of what happened is we saw him at a convention in 2017, and he said, you can make a fan film out of this. So we had permission to make a fan film out of this. So that's what happened. Because he was there at the convention. He said he probably figured we wouldn't be able to do that. Little did he know. There was a pandemic, and there was time to do a fan film, and we were doing other ones, and we did that one. And we did it. Anyway, we rewrote so there'd be a second half where they take the ship. Which is, yeah, he didn't write a second half. So pretty much wrote the first half. But yeah, he wrote the first, his story is the first half and a little bit of the very end. Yeah, so, cool. Anyway, so, yeah, so, good license. So that is, yeah, that's it. Until next time.